Welcome to the candidate forum put on by the League of Women Voters of Arlington Heights and the Arlington Heights Memorial Library. My name is Louisa Zanin, junior at Prospect High School. I am from our Emerging Leaders program, and I'm also a member of League of Women Voters Arlington Heights, Mount Prospect, Buffalo Grove area. If you use closed captioning, please turn it on via live transcript at the bottom of your screen next to the raised hands. Founded in 1920 out of the suffragette movement giving women the right to vote, the League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization that neither supports nor opposes candidates or parties for any office. The League's purpose is to promote political responsibility through the informed and active participation of citizens in government. Providing this forum allows candidates to become better informed about the issues facing their community and to become better acquainted with the candidates running for office. We are happy to provide this service to our community. To send in questions for the candidates, please text the number 224-306-9521 or email forum.lwvah@gmail.com. All of our candidates were contacted by email or phone prior to today. The candidates have agreed to abide by the ground rules provided by the League of Women Voters. They are as follows. Our moderator has drawn names for speaking order and will rotate this order during the forum for each question. Each candidate will have 2 minutes for their introductions. Next, each candidate will have 1 minute to answer questions. At the end, each candidate will have a 2-minute closing statement. League members will act as timers. Candidates will be given a 30-second and 15-second warning, so we ask that candidates to quickly complete their thoughts before they see the stop card. Time limits will be enforced out of respect for all candidates. Questions will be provided by the audience. Each question will be answered by all candidates, so please, audience, only ask questions related to the office being sought. Again, we only use questions which can be answered by all candidates. Please send in questions to 224-306-9521. or email forum.lwvah@gmail.com. Questions will be reviewed by League volunteers for clarity, appropriateness, and to avoid duplication. Candidates have been asked not to interrupt one another. The moderator will repeat a question if asked. The candidates are to speak to the audience. I'd like to introduce our moderator for today's event, Maya Kusalovic, junior at Prospect High School. She is also a leader of our Emerging Leaders program in League.
Thank you. We will now start a candidate forum. We ask that you bear with us and note that technology is what it is, and we are all working to assure this event runs as smoothly as possible. With me on screen, we have our candidates and our timer, League member and state member Ann Giuseppe, and I would like to note that the Q&A chat has been disabled for all attendees. So if you would like to submit a question for the candidates, please text this number, 224-306-9521, or email forum.lwvah@gmail.com. I'll repeat, forum.lwvah@gmail.com. We will start this forum with candidate Grassi, candidate for the Village of Mount Prospect Mayor. Candidates, please note the timer. When you see the stop sign, you may finish your sentence. The candidates will be following order for 2 minutes opening statements. Candidate Grassi, please begin your 2-minute opening statement.
Good afternoon. I'm Bill Grossi, and I would like to thank the League of Women Voters and the Mount Prospect Library for sponsoring the forum. I would like to tell you a little bit about myself. I've lived in Mount Prospect for over 30 years and have served on the village board since 2017. I currently serve on the Mount Prospect Audit Committee and the Northwest Municipal Conference Transportation and Legislative Committees. I'm a member of St. Thomas Becket Parish and the Mount Prospect Lions Club. Perhaps you have seen me volunteering at the car show, farmers market, or our 4th of July festival. I have a Bachelor's of Science in Business Finance, a Master's of Science in Accounting, and a law degree. As a lawyer, my practice is concentrated in taxation, real estate, and estate planning. Before going into private practice, I was an IRS tax attorney, tax counsel at Motorola, and at FMC Corporation. I am a member of the American Bar Association, the Illinois State Bar Association, and the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants. I have previously served on the board of directors of Motorola Employees Credit Union, which had over 1/3 of $1 billion in assets, and also as a board member of a chamber of commerce. I'm a leader who is not afraid to make the difficult decisions. My background, experience, and credentials give me a solid foundation to hit the ground running as mayor. It is vital to maintain our excellent services and provide strong and proactive leadership to the village during our recovery from the COVID pandemic. It is also imperative to grow a thriving tax base to attract new businesses and individuals. I will build unity, work for the common good, promote Mount Prospect at every opportunity, and be accessible. I look forward to serving all of Mount Prospect as the people's mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Candidate Grossi. Next, can we have Candidate Saccatelli's opening statement?
Thank you to the League of Women Voters for today's forum. I'm Colleen Saccatelli, and I've been a trustee for 6 years. I'm originally from the Northwest side of Chicago. I have a bachelor's degree in political science and a master's degree in international affairs. I have worked in government administration at the state and local levels. My husband and I chose Mount Prospect for our family for the wonderful community, great schools, and parks. As a resident with a young family, I represent a new generation of mayor. I'm dedicated to the future of Mount Prospect. I'm committed to leadership for the entire community. When I'm reviewing an issue before the board, I carefully consider resident comments, staff recommendations, and expert reports. As mayor, even if I have a personal feeling about an issue, I will make decisions based upon what I believe is best for the community as a whole. I am committed to quality services and sound financial planning. Continued sound financial planning is critical to the village's success post-pandemic. I will make sure village services like public safety, snow removal, and waste removal are efficient and effective. The Human Services Department must have all the resources it requires to address the needs of our community as a result of the pandemic. I will also promote the consideration of sustainability practices in the village decision-making process. Next, I'm committed to adaptive outreach and citizen engagement. As mayor, I would strive to increase the diversity of applicants to village boards and commissions. I believe that the more diverse village boards and commissions become, the more likely the village board will become more diverse. Diversity of perspective makes for a more robust and inclusive decision-making process. Finally, I'm committed to village-wide economic development. I believe by the village continuing to work in a collaborative manner with the business community, we can help attract businesses and continue to develop the village. Decisions we make now will shape the community for years to come. I want to ensure we make the right decisions so that Mount Prospect can reach its full potential, a place where families and businesses thrive and a destination for our neighboring communities. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next, we have Candidate Hofert.
Good afternoon. I'm Paul Hofert, your candidate for mayor of Mount Prospect, and for 30 years, your voice in village government. As your mayor, I will continue to apply my responsible approach to village finances. My record shows keeping annual spending and tax levies as low as possible is a top priority. I've supported 30 balanced budgets, a diversified tax and fee base, and I've fought to keep our tax levy down. As your mayor, I will support strong life safety services. Strong police, fire, and public works are the most important services our village government can provide to its citizens. When you need an ambulance, a fire truck, or a police car to come quickly, there can be no compromise. As your mayor, I will support annual infrastructure improvements to roads, bridges, sewers, and water mains so that we don't let these valuable village assets fall into disrepair. Allowing that to happen would cost us significantly more in the long run. As your mayor, I will support policies to protect our residential neighborhoods. Protecting the delicate fabric of our neighborhoods is a quality of life issue. Neighborhoods are where our citizens live and raise their families. Keeping our neighborhoods safe is paramount. As your mayor, I will support economic development and a vital business environment because these are the lifeblood of a healthy community. They work in tandem to keep our residential taxes down and our village moving forward. I've been an active proponent of downtown redevelopment literally since day one. I've supported expanded uses at Kensington Business Center beyond light industrial. We now have essentially no vacancies. For the same reason, I now support expanding uses such as beyond retail at including residential and entertainment at Randhurst Village. And I support our South Mount Prospect plan. As your mayor, I will bring proven leadership, serious depth of leadership and experience, and a common sense approach to your role, to my role as your mayor. And I really look forward to our discussion this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we will move on to the question portion of the forum. We're going to alternate speaking order and start with candidate Saccatelli. The question reads, the Blue Lives Matter flag on our police department uniforms is a point of contention among many residents. What actions will you take to make our residents of color feel heard by their elected officials and feel comfortable and safe in their community?
My role as mayor is to get more diverse voices into the conversation on boards and commission and to facilitate conversations that include all members of our community. And I understand the different perspectives on this issue and how they view the symbol differently. As mayor, my job is to determine what is best for the entire community and what is best for the police department to effectively do their jobs and carry out their community policing strategies. It's going to be an ongoing discussion, especially with the new board coming in, but I believe diversity and inclusion training is so important. That's why I voluntarily sought out to take the training this year. And as mayor, I would request that all of our board members take diversity and inclusion training so that we have a better understanding of our residents' needs, and we're the leaders of the community. So we should be framing the discussion and addressing our residents in an appropriate way. Thank you.
Thank you, candidate Saccatelli. Next, we have candidate Hofert.
Just for the record, I recently, within the last few weeks, attended 6 hours of diversity and inclusion training at work, and have certainly been involved in diversity and inclusion all of my professional career as well as my public career. You know, I agree that this discussion continues and it will continue, and there are obviously more than one side to this very sensitive issue. I've already called for a third-party independent review of all of our symbols and all of our logos in the village to make sure that there aren't hidden meanings by accident, inadvertent meanings, inadvertent portions of symbols that are hurtful or have unintended consequences to them. We've also called for a diversity audit to audit the village relative to our overall diversity. And just a week ago, we had a discussion about hiring in the village relative to diversity and how we bring greater diversity to our employment roles. And that's been an ongoing effort and an ongoing discussion for more than 10 years. And it's not an easy topic because finding people of color and diverse candidates is not easy, but we're doing our best to reach out. But again, going back, we need a third party to take a look at these because both sides of this issue are too close to it in the village. And we really need someone who understands, who is independent and has no association to the village to help us with this discussion. And I will embrace it. I will carry it forward. I'm committed to that. And we will, it's always going to be an ongoing issue, but we will try to solve some of these very basic issues at the beginning of my administration.
Thank you, candidate Hofert. Just as a reminder, please text any questions to 224-306-9521. And as a reminder to the candidates, you all are entitled to 2 opportunities for a 30-second rebuttal to any of the answers. Next, we have candidate Grossi. Oh, you appear to be muted.
I thought it was in the rules, just a point of order before I start my answer, that it was 1 minute for the answers to these questions, not 2. Am I incorrect?
It is 1 minute.
Well, you gave 2 minutes to Mr. Holford on this last question. So, and can you restate the question for me? Because the answer I just heard wasn't really appropriate to the question, I thought.
Of
So,
course. The Blue Lives Matter flag on our police department uniforms is a point of contention among many residents. What action will you take to make our residents of color feel heard by their elected officials and feel comfortable and safe in their community? And since candidate Hofert got 2 minutes, I think that you should be able to get 2 minutes as well.
well, I probably won't take it. I've made no secret that I am for leaving the patch as it is. I support our police at 100%. This flag with the blue line through it was co-opted by some people at 2 events. The total number of flags that I saw in these events was 3, where I saw multitudes more of the American flag and other flags. I understand that there are people within the village that find the flag objectionable, but at the same time, our police department and all of those who serve understand the true meaning of this flag and the blue line. We cannot allow that to be co-opted by a small minority of individuals. I'm here to serve the entire community, not just one part of the community. It is the entire community. And I believe that the patch is appropriate and that we should put this issue to rest. Thank you.
All right, thank you, candidate Grossi. For the next question, we have, the current Community Engagement Committee lacks authority to affect change. Do you support creating a commission with a similar mission, but with the authority that the committee lacks? Why or why not? And we will start with candidate Hofert.
I actually disagree with that in the sense of all of our committees and commissions have authority in the sense of they can make recommendations to the village board. The reality is there isn't a board or commission that is the last word on anything. In rare cases, the planning and zoning has final word on some planning and zoning cases, but beyond that, every commission has access to the board. They can bring forward whether they're ad hoc, whether they're formal, doesn't matter. They can bring forward ideas, thoughts, and lobby the board to make changes accordingly. That's why we have commissions and boards to help us, to advise us, because we don't have all the answers. And diversity of thought from different people around the village, that's why we have commissions. And so I disagree with you. I do think they have authority and they certainly have my ear to listen.
All right, thank you, candidate Hofert. I'll repeat the question again. The current Community Engagement Committee lacks authority to affect change. Do you support creating a commission with a similar mission, but with the authority the committee lacks? Why or why not? Candidate Grossi, you have the floor. Oh, you are muted.
This is a tough question. The committee was set up as an informal committee on purpose so that it avoided all the necessary meeting requirements and approval of its members by the board. This was to allow that committee to get together and informally inform the board, the mayor, and village management of what it thought was appropriate. I don't believe we should allow this committee to become a full-fledged committee because that would require a lot more following of formal rules, and it's not the purpose. The purpose of this committee is to seek out diversity among the village. We are 65% white. We are approximately 35% minority. And I welcome every group to the table. Thank you.
Thank you, candidate Grossi. I'll repeat the question. The current Community Engagement Committee lacks authority to affect change. Do you support creating a commission with a similar mission, but with the authority the community lacks? Why or why not? Candidate Saccatelli.
I don't believe that the commission lacks an authority to affect change. They've done a lot of great programming this year, especially during the pandemic with their sign program, with facilitating the community conversation over the summer. I feel like they've done a lot of great work. And I want to see them carry that on. I think we have other boards and commissions. And as mayor, I would, again, get more diverse applicants to boards and commissions, because that's where the formal boards and commissions, a lot of the policy work is being done. And then as more diverse those commissions and boards become, then we'll have more applicants to the village board. So the village board itself, the highest policymaking body of our village, can become more diverse and more inclusive and take more perspectives into consideration. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Now for the third question, we have working full-time for even $15 an hour provides a gross of $2,600 a month, while a median rental apartment in Mount Prospect is $1,132, which is 43% of the pay before taxes. This is not enough for low-wage earners in Mount Prospect to afford housing here. What will you propose regarding new housing projects going up in town to make sure some of these units affordable for these workers? Candidate Grossi?
Thank you. Our Mount Prospect has a great deal of units that are considered affordable housing. We have much more than our neighbors in any of the other Northwest suburbs. The $15 minimum wage was never meant to support a family. In fact, it is supposed to be a starter wage, usually used by high school students and retirees to supplement their income. The fact of the minimum wage number is out of the control of the board. We will try to do what we can, but we have some affordable housing in different parts of the village as it is, and we are doing what we can to help those people. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next, we have candidate Zacatelli.
Thank you. I believe that everyone deserves quality housing, regardless of their income. And I think that we need to take some reflection on the community post-pandemic. People have lost jobs, have undergone tremendous financial strains this year. So people that may have been able to afford some housing at a certain level may not be able to afford that now. And I think we should have our human services department and our community development department look at the needs of the community and our residents and report back to the board what they're seeing, so that if necessary, we can come up with a plan to provide more affordable housing in our community. We're also so lucky to have federal funds coming in that have helped for our rental assistance program, and CDBG funds that have helped, again, with rental assistance and small single family homeowner assistance. So we'll continue to work those programs and address the needs of the community.
Thank you. Next, we have candidate Hofert.
So maybe more than any other community, we have a wide range of housing. We have very expensive single family homes. We have 2-bedroom, 1-bath single family homes. We've got townhomes, we have condominiums, and we have apartments. And within the apartment realm, we have a wide diversity of types of apartments and affordability all around town, north and south. And so we've worked to make those living situations high quality and high quality of life in those apartment units, because a number of years ago, many of the owners of those apartments didn't take care of them, and the people that lived there wouldn't speak up because they were afraid they were going to lose their home. We put the apartment inspection program in place, and today we have high quality, low cost apartments in our village and accessible to people. And they're across the village. Like I said, they're north and they're south. So I'm all about quality of life for all people, and I'm all about allowing people who, I shouldn't say allowing, but people who can afford various types of housing. We have it here in Mount Prospect.
Thank you. The next question reads, do any of the candidates acknowledge that the blue line flag patch very possibly is a roadblock to any diversity hiring goals? We'll start with candidate Saccatelli.
Thank you for the question. I again would say that this is an ongoing discussion that we're having within the village. And I think that the police profession in general is having difficulty hiring people and getting people to come into the profession. And so it's, our department has worked really hard in community policing and reaching out to different communities. But I could see that, again, as I can see people's interpretations of the patch, that some people may choose another department if the patch means something in a negative manner to them.
Thank you. Next, we have candidate Hofer.
The blue line patch, I hope that it doesn't impact hiring, because the fact that we're discussing it should show that our community is open and our community is flexible and our community is willing to discuss tough issues. And if somebody wants to hire on with us, they should understand that. Many communities would be totally inflexible. They would pound the table and that would be that. So as a candidate would come to us, I think they would look at how we're handling things and how we're reaching out and trying to understand all sides of this issue. In terms of increasing diversity, though, I've already talked to it in relative to our hiring practices. We have made that effort over and over, and we will continue until we eventually reach the goal.
Thank you. Candidate Grossi.
I don't believe that the blue line patch has any impact on a hiree coming or choosing Mount Prospect versus not coming here. The Blue Lives Matter movement is predicated upon the separation between order and chaos, and has been part of the policing community for over 100 years. The flag has been around since 2015 with the blue line in it, and was used extensively in 2016 when 5 police officers in Dallas were murdered. That's when it became popular. If you go to the Thin Blue Line website, you'll see that some of the most money donated to slain officers and their families have gone to police officers of color. I don't think that that has any bearing on whether an individual will work here or not. Thank you.
Could I get my extra time from the previous question on the Blue Live, the police patch?
Your rebuttal.
Sure. Okay, thank
Okay.
you. I just wanted to tack on to my original answer that I have closely looked at what's going on in Arlington Heights with their audit report, and I think that's certainly something that the board can discuss going forward in our strategic planning for the next year. And I just wanted to say it's been made an issue that one candidate is the one that supports the police, and that's not true. I've supported the police. I participate in their community policing activities like Citizens Police Academy. I've run the 505K twice. I attend beat meetings. I support our police department fully. Thank you.
All right, thank you, candidate Saccatelli. For the next question, we have, I live in Mount Prospect, and last year I tried to have alcoholic beverages delivered to my home because of the pandemic and my age. I learned from a store and Des Plaines that they couldn't deliver to 60056. This is an archaic regulation, particularly in the COVID-19 area. Will you work to change this? Why or why not? And we will start with candidate Hofert.
I frankly don't see this as a big issue. Hopefully we're winding down out of the pandemic, not tomorrow, but hopefully by the end of this year, the majority of people will be vaccinated and life will return to what will be the new norm. Relative to alcohol deliveries, I just don't think it's necessary. We have loosened up relative to the pandemic that people can carry their alcohol out of the restaurants and bring it home. We've certainly upgraded and modernized our alcoholic beverages ordinances, and we recently approved recreational marijuana. So I think in many ways we're on the forefront, but I don't see home delivery of alcohol as an important issue to the village as a whole.
Thank you. Next, we have candidate Grossi.
Well, I believe that they should be allowed to deliver alcoholic beverages or bottles to individuals' homes. If you belong to a wine club, they deliver it to your homes all the time, provided that there's someone who is 21 or older. So to make it so that if you go to a wine club and order it from California, it can be delivered to you, but you can't go and shop local and have it delivered to you, doesn't make sense to me. I believe that we have, we're a community that really allows people to do a great deal and really want people to shop local. And I think that this would be a perfect opportunity for us to change that rule and allow home delivery of alcohol. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next, we have candidate Saccatelli.
Yeah, I would be in favor of alcoholic beverage delivery because I think it would support our local restaurants. I've had it delivered through groceries, so it's happening in Mount Prospect through other ways. So I would support this. I think that we want to continue to support our restaurant community, especially as we're transitioning out of, social distancing and we're trying to return to normal. This will be a way to help our restaurants get over that hump till they're fully operational and people are freely coming to the restaurants. Thank you.
All right, the next question reads, there are a lot of apartments, condos, and row houses being built in the downtown area that includes space for retail businesses. Has enough thought gone into preparing for the population increase and expanded retail space? Candidate Grossi, you have the floor.
Well, we've based our voting on whether or not to increase the number of rental units or living units in downtown on some studies that had been done by a well-known organization that established that there was a great need for additional housing in the northwest suburbs. The retail space, we don't have a lot in these new buildings. There's maybe a chance for 4 at Prospect Place. There's going to be a grocery store that everybody has wanted for years. And there is a restaurant at 20 West, and there is nothing at Central and Main. So we really haven't increased the number of retail operations. And basically, going forward, retail will have to change dramatically for us to even consider adding more to the downtown. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Saccatelli.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Of course. There are a lot of apartments, condos, and row houses being built in the downtown area that includes space for retail businesses. Has enough thought gone into preparing for the population increase and expanded retail space?
Thank you. I believe enough thought has gone through the planning process. We've had the downtown plan. We've had numerous discussions. I think what the next phase is getting people to move here and marketing Mount Prospect to be, as we all know, a wonderful place to live and raise a family. And I helped to draft the branding and marketing plan for the village. And so I am very interested in how we can promote the village and all the residential opportunities that we have here. And so once we get people coming in here, the businesses will have the support that they need to continue to grow and thrive. And so it's really an issue of not of planning, but just moving to the next phase of the plan, which is the branding and marketing and really showing off Mount Prospect and how great it is.
Thank you. Candidate Hofert.
So the face of retail shopping has changed. It's a structural change, and frankly, it moved along faster because of the pandemic. Fewer people are shopping at stores, more are shopping online. It is a delicate balance between the number of people you bring into the downtown or into the village as a whole, and how much retail space that there is. I mean, Randhurst is running into issues relative to the new way of shopping. So I think in the end, the market drives that decision. We don't drive that decision because none of us are retail experts. But the people who are putting up $30 million to build a building, they know whether they should build, 5 retail spaces or 10 retail spaces. It's up to them. But there's always flexibility later on if the market changes to add more retail.
All right, thank you. The next question reads, we just moved to Mount Prospect last year. What initially drew us to Mount Prospect was how pedestrian and bicycle friendly the city is. Having a community that is not car dependent benefits the environment, improves safety and quality of life. While all of you seem to agree that economic growth and recovery is important for the city, additional vehicle traffic can be a deterrent for pedestrians and bicyclists. What is your vision for transportation in the near future? What, if any, changes would be important to you? Candidate Saccatelli, you can start.
Thank you. I'm very much concerned with movement throughout the village, pedestrian movement, bicycle movement. Growing up, we only had one car in our family, and so we used public transportation or walked a heck of a lot. And I know that a lot of people are in that same situation or prefer to do that. So I'm very much interested in finishing sidewalks that aren't connected to other sidewalks so people can move freely. I am so excited about the Algonquin bike path on the south side as part of our south side plan to let people move more freely through the south side. I'd like to see more movement between north and south. So any way that we can connect the different parts of the village, I'd be interested in looking into that. And one of the things that I worked on when I first became trustee was connecting Fairview School and Mellis Park and making sure that that sidewalk was connected. I feel like it's so important for people to move freely throughout the village.
All right, thank you. Candidate Helford?
For 30 years, we've been completing the sidewalks around the village where there were portions that just for whatever reason the developer didn't finish or the village didn't finish. And that's been a huge focus, and I've supported spending every dollar to do that. We have a lot of busy thoroughfares that run through our village, and they're a blessing and they're a curse. On a blessing side, they bring hundreds of thousands of people through our village every day. Some of them shop, some of them pump gas, some of them buy food, some of them stop at Randhurst. That's a positive. The negative, all the traffic. And I totally understand how that impacts bicycling and walking. And so to the extent that outside of those major thoroughfares that we can bring traffic calming and make the village a safer place to bicycle and to walk, I'm 100% behind that.
Thank you. Candidate Grossi?
Well, we do have bike paths throughout the village, and we are in the process of extending them toward my neighborhood because there's a lack of connectivity between the northeastern part of the village and to Randhurst and to all the way to the library and Village Hall. It's very difficult to ride a bike there. I've done it on a number of occasions, and you take your life into your own hands. Sidewalks have been a top priority for me. We have extended them. I also believe lighting is important, and I urge the board to extend street lighting on one of our major thoroughfares. There are no street lights on Euclid Avenue. There are no street lights on Kensington east of Randhurst Mall. We have to make our neighborhood safe for walking, safe for riding bicycles, and we have to continue to do this. Now, as for some of the sidewalks not being finished, that is because some of the areas were annexed before after the houses were built without them. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question reads, what will you do to alleviate the mess at the building on the south side of the tracks? The parking lot has been decimated. There is insufficient parking for the residents of the new building, and there is only a couple ways over the railroad tracks, which will cause congestion in that area. The residents of that neighborhood are in for a lot of congestion. We will start with candidate Hofert.
So let's clarify. You're talking about the Maple Street lofts? Let's assume that we're talking about the Maple Street lofts.
I don't think so.
No, I think
I don't know. I don't know what they were asking about.
I mean, we have a number of buildings on the south side. I'm sorry, this is not part of my answer. I'm going to assume it's the Maple Street lofts. For those that know, I voted against the Maple Street lofts, not because I wasn't in support of development and not because I wasn't in support of some development there. That development is very intense and it's frankly in the wrong place because everybody was counting on those residents riding the train. Now nobody's riding the train. So those people are going to be driving to work. And where do you think they're going to go? They're going to try to get to Mount Prospect Road. They're going to try to get to Northwest Highway, but they won't be able to get across the tracks and they won't be able to navigate down those small streets like Mount Prospect Road. So what will happen? They will turn and go south into our neighborhoods. And that, I believe, is exactly where this question is coming from. And that's why I voted against it. That building was too intense. It needed to be less than it is. But I am a supporter of development, and I think the building could have been done much differently.
All right, thank you. Candidate Grossi?
Can you repeat the question?
Of course. Also, just as a clarification, it is indeed the Maple Street lofts.
Okay.
What will you do to alleviate the mess at the building on the south side of the tracks? The parking lot has been decimated. There is insufficient parking for the residents of the new building, and there's only a couple of ways over the railroad tracks, which will cause congestion in that area. The residents of that neighborhood are, in fact, in store for a lot of congestion.
Well, I was in favor of Maple Street lofts, and the first question had to do with the mess, the construction mess. Well, what I will do is on tomorrow morning, I'll contact our village manager and see if they're fully in code compliant while they're doing the construction work over there. As for the parking should be adequate at the present time because nobody is using any of the lots to go downtown. So there's adequate parking during the construction. We also have a new parking structure that will open as soon as it is needed. It is complete, it's ready to go. So that should alleviate some of the parking problem. There are sufficient parking spaces for Maple Street lofts according to the plan that was submitted by the developer. There's separate parking for the grocery and there's separate resident parking. So I am not sure that there will be that problem. I do believe that access over the tracks is an issue. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Candidate Zacatelli?
Okay, thanks for the question. I don't see there being a traffic issue. The developer did traffic studies. If people aren't taking the train right now, most people are working from home. So I don't see a traffic coming from that. And then when people transition to work, they'll be transitioning back to using the train. That's why we're creating all this transit-oriented development. The grocery store is going to be a huge asset to our downtown and all the residents that live down there. There's many parking lots in the downtown. We've talked about this recently at the village board level. The staff is going to be doing some signage and advertising of where people can park to make sure people are aware of where they can park. And we're continuing to look at the train station and the crossings there to extend the platform to help alleviate some of that congestion that already exists in the downtown.
Thank
I'd
you.
like to rebut.
All right.
We get 2 rebuttals, right?
Yes, 30 seconds.
Okay. I will just tell you that my ear was open to the residents. We had hundreds of people turn out for meetings, and I believe that the majority of the board just totally discounted what the people who already live in that area know and understand that's going to happen, because it already happens. If you drive that area during a normal time, not the pandemic time, but during a normal time, and I do, at rush hour on both ends, I'm telling you, it's jammed now. And it's going to be jammed much tighter in the future, because there are so many residents that are going to be coming out of that building and going into that neighborhood. I voted with the people that night, and I always will vote for the people. And my tagline is, I am the voice, your voice in village government.
All right, thank you. The next question reads, what kind of businesses would you like to see in the future downtown mixed-use complexes? What business strategy would you implement to attract them to Mount Prospect and keep them in the village? We'll start with candidate Grossi.
Well, this is an interesting question, because retail has changed overnight due to the pandemic. Bringing retail into the downtown area is going to be very difficult. I think that what we'll be able to do is bring an entertainment of some sort, maybe an axe throwing venue, maybe a darts, maybe a brew pub would be appropriate. Maybe additional restaurants. As the number of individual residents grows in the downtown area, I believe we should be able to support some restaurants. Currently, we have a lot of dentist office, doctor's offices, and we need something different, but we need something that will bring somebody to downtown. So it's got to be an entertainment venue, and we have to think out of the box to make it different than what are currently available in other suburbs. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next, we have candidate Saccatelli.
Thank you for the question. I would like to see more restaurants in our downtown. So many people go to neighboring communities for their restaurants, and I think that Mount Prospect should be a destination. I think that we are set up in a great space. We have the transit-oriented development happening. We're right on the train tracks. If we can fully implement our branding and marketing plan to publicize Mount Prospect and all that we have here, people will come here. I want Mount Prospect to be a destination. So I'd like to see more restaurants, maybe some more activity-based venues, a brewery. We've been talking about a brewery or a wine tasting room, something of that nature, and some type of activity for people to do after they go to the restaurants here.
Thank you. Candidate Hoford.
I'd ask you to repeat the question.
Of course. What kind of businesses would you like to see in the future downtown mixed-use complexes? What business strategy would you implement to attract them to Mount Prospect and keep them in the village?
Okay. Keep in mind that we can't totally designate what comes. We can't say we want this here and that there. We can set up zoning classes and so on, and decide, what kind of businesses would fall into certain areas. But certainly, I think our downtown is ripe for 2 or 3 more high quality restaurants to give people further options to eat out at night, and to attract people to come. If you build it, they will come, right? I think our downtown is a big part of it is creative independence, and smaller businesses that have a unique offering to the community and to people at large. We are getting a new grocery. The new building that's going up on Mount Prospect Road will have 2 restaurant spaces in it and retail in between. And I would charge our community development group with reaching out and finding people to come here. We do that, but we don't do it in a big enough way.
All right, thank you. We will now move into the 2-minute closing statements, and we'll start with candidate Saccatelli.
Thank you to the League of Women Voters for hosting. Please go to saccatelli.com to learn more about my campaign. This past year has been difficult for our community. People have lost loved ones, faced economic insecurity, and felt the social struggles of our time. I'm running for mayor to help Mount Prospect reach its full potential. We are a strong, caring, and resilient community. We will come back stronger from this harrowing time. I have 6 years' experience on the board as well as a background in government administration. I understand the functions of government and its importance to our community. I believe I'm an asset to the board because I come prepared for meetings, ask pertinent questions, and listen to all sides of an issue. I bring a positive perspective to the board. I make decisions based upon what is best for the entire Mount Prospect community. I carefully consider resident comments, staff recommendations, and expert reports. Even though I may have a personal feeling about an issue, I act based upon what I believe is best for the community. I act with the best intentions and care for the future of Mount Prospect. I want Mount Prospect to be a welcoming place for residents and businesses for years to come. My leadership style has been shaped by my educational background and work experiences. I approach issues with a consensus building and diplomatic eye, not one of divisiveness. The role of mayor of Mount Prospect is unique in that the mayor can only vote in the event of a tie. However, the mayor still has a critical role. The mayor must be a leader for the community in intergovernmental meetings and advocate the town's needs to our state and federal legislators. Most of all, the mayor has the ability to frame community conversations and policy discussions. I believe that I am uniquely qualified to lead these discussions for Mount Prospect. My education and experience in government as an employee and an elected official have prepared me for this role. When I am mayor, I will be the mayor of all of our residents, not just the ones that voted for me. I will always work to keep the best interests of the entire Mount Prospect community at heart. I am dedicated to our community and committed to our future. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have candidate Holford.
I'm a strong, consistent, and dedicated leader with deep experience and a strong love of our community. When you cast your vote for Paul Holford for mayor, you know you'll be electing a mayor who will value what you have to say, who will watch over our hard-earned tax dollars like a hawk, and will keep Mount Prospect a great place and a vital community with strong property values, a place where people want to live and they want to work and they want to raise their families. During my tenure, we have accomplished a great deal, from economic development, flood control, downtown redevelopment, to maintaining a strong fiscal position, and while keeping a solid sense of local community with a focus towards protecting our neighborhoods. There is so much more to do, and I'd like to contribute to our progress by serving the people of Mount Prospect as your mayor. The most important question you can ask yourself before you vote for mayor on April 6th, which candidate has broad and significant village board and financial business experience? Which candidate has proven year after year that he will work to keep taxes low? Which candidate has a track record of standing up to groupthink and consistently applying a common sense approach to governance? The answer is clear. Always remember that I'm a nonpartisan independent candidate, and I answer to only the citizens of Mount Prospect. My extensive body of work on behalf of the citizens of Mount Prospect has shown that I am a steady and experienced hand who, as your mayor, will lead our village forward and protect your interests. I ask you to vote on Tuesday, April 6th. And when you do, vote Paul Holford for mayor of Mount Prospect. Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, we have candidate Grossi.
I want to thank the board, the League of Women Voters and the library for conducting a great forum. It provided a great deal of information to the voters. This election is about leadership. I am the only candidate that has stated their position on hot button issues that are critical to this community. Leadership will be critical the next few years as we recover from the pandemic. Mount Prospect will also have a very different board of trustees. Decisions will have to be made in a timely manner, not delayed by the use of outside consultants or referendums. My vision for the future of Mount Prospect is that it is inclusive of everyone, respects everyone, represents everyone, and listens to everyone. The only way that can be achieved is through constructive two-way dialogue, not by inflammatory rhetoric. I will always back our first responders. I will not defund our police department. We have a highly trained, excellent group of men and women who serve both as police and firefighters in our community. They deserve our support. However, if any discipline is necessary, those situations will be addressed in a timely and fair manner. COVID has changed the business landscape in this community. We need to aggressively provide support to our businesses so they can continue to thrive again, and we must bring in new businesses. We need to adapt to the new changed retail environment. We must make Mount Prospect a destination for entertainment and shopping. Our people must not be forgotten. Most have suffered during this past year. I will seek a 5% reduction in the village tax levy to help our homeowners and businesses recover. I have never voted for a tax increase. I believe our future is bright because of our people. The new normal will soon be replaced by a better traditional norm. Go to my website for more information at www.grossi60056.org. Please vote for me, Bill Grossi, on April 6th.
Thank you. Next, I will return to our MC. Thank you everyone for attending.
Thank you, Maya, for being our moderator. Please make sure to register to vote. Make your plan to vote, and then make sure your voice is counted this election day. Need help? Your library and the League of Women Voters, Arlington Heights, Mount Prospect, Buffalo Grove are here to help. Check out our website at www.lwvah.org for voter registration information. Yes, you can register online. Mail-in vote information, planning your ballot, as well as your early and day of polling locations. Again, check us out at www.lwvah.org and follow us on social media at Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. We even have accounts specifically dedicated for youth at student.lwvah and a mascot at Pause for Votes. And make sure once you're ready to vote, you tell 10 friends where they can find all this information that they need to be counted. www.lwvah.org. We are grateful to all of you for joining us and to our candidates, Paul Helfert, Colleen Saccatelli, and William Grossi. Our democracy relies on citizens willing to run for office, and thank you to all of our volunteers of our league who have worked tirelessly to bring you this free program. Have a great day.
Thank you.